While visiting my wife's sister Lindis at her tiny country cottage in Yorkshire, England, a few years ago, we were treated to a spectacular roast beef lunch that ranks as one of the most memorable meals I've ever eaten. Not only was the roast perfectly cooked and the vegetables superb, but also Lindis's Yorkshire pudding was out of this world. Sure, like any meal, sometimes the place and the company have much to do with memories of the food. Okay, full disclosure. Lindis's husband had introduced me to the joys of warm beer in a number of pubs for a couple of hours before lunch, and I might have been a bit groggy after my late morning nap, but I'm telling you, this food was really good. Adapting Lindis's recipe to dishes other than as an accompaniment to the Sunday roast has been a favorite hobby of mine ever since, and adding Yorkshire pudding to the bird camp repertoire to serve with fresh grouse, woodcock, pheasants, and other birds adds something special to an evening's meal. Yorkshire pudding is best described as decidedly not pudding in the traditional American sense of the word. It is rather an eggy pancake that puffs up when baked, gets crispy around the edges, and remains soft and tender in the middle. Think American German pancake or popover. Lately, I've taken to sautéing smaller game bird breasts and then making a quick pan sauce to serve with them. I find that slow, careful cooking over medium heat gives me maximum control over the cooking time and final internal temperature and results in a moist, tender bird. Getting good caramelization is key for flavor, but remember the birds continue to cook after being removed from the pan. They will cook a little more as they finish in the sauce, but they can't be cooked any less. So remove the breasts before you think they are cooked. A French-style pan sauce is flavored by whatever liquid is used to deglaze the pan. While wine is traditional, anything can be used. Think champagne, beer, cider, brandy, sherry, vinegar, or plain water. Changing up the liquid and thus changing how the sauce complements the bird is the fun part. I'm using dry sherry for this recipe, and when it hits the surface of the pan the birds were cooked in, it lifts up all the brown bits, adding huge flavor to the sauce. This pan sauce drill is the backbone of French restaurant sauce technique. It is quick, easy, and full-flavored as long as there is a good quality game stock on hand. Saving those carcasses and making a decent quantity of reduced stock is the way to go. Try freezing finished stock in ice trays and popping out what is needed for recipes that only need a little. Roast beef drippings are the traditional flavoring fat for Yorkshire pudding, and I've found that hot butter plus drippings from whatever bird is being cooked in works well too. Combine the bird drippings with enough butter to get 3 tablespoons of fat, which is the desired quantity for this Yorkshire pudding recipe. Use all butter if you wish, but do try it with the bird fat too and see the flavor difference. Yorkshire pudding puffs up when the eggs and milk in the batter hit the hot oven and they create steam. The air gets trapped and the batter expands as it cooks, making it all puff up. But it's delicate, so be careful. One word of advice. Once the pudding is in the oven, do not get curious and open the oven door. Trust me. A tiny peak will lower the oven temperature enough to deflate the Yorkshire pudding rapidly. Finally, timing here is important. When the sautéed grouse technique is totally familiar and you know you can do it in 20 minutes, or the time it takes for the pudding to cook, switch the order of the cooking and do the Yorkshire pudding first and make the grouse while the pudding is in the oven. But for now, I'd have the birds and sauce warm and ready as the Yorkshire pudding comes out of the oven. It's best served right away while it's hot and puffed up. Lindis is a feisty, independent woman in her 70s who sports a Rod Stewart-style haircut, think the band Faces 1969, and who takes no nonsense from anyone. She does what she wants the way she wants to. I wrote to tell her I sometimes will make the Yorkshire pudding for bird camp dinners. She recently replied, saying yes, indeed, she serves Yorkshire pudding often. Up here we eat them with everything, beef, chicken, lamb, whatever. And I also make them sometimes as a large plate and fill them with mince. Actually, I was thinking I'd love to push one in the face of 1 or 2 ghastly politicians that spring to mind. You get the picture.